Why, hello there, fellow woodworkers. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival. Episode 29, Improving Home Storage. Alright, looks like focusing on buildings seems to be the popular choice. And I have some plans if that ends up winning. I'm just looking at the materials I have available to me right now. Why am I trying to jump? Well, force of habit dies hard. Here we go. We got a little bridge. So, I did say that I wanted support beams before I called this done. I also want to just like, oh, those are wooden ladders. I'm going to burn the wooden fence gate. So, support beam, made of like kapak, is, oh, I need to debark it. Right. Yeah, let's do it anyway. I did mention it. I wanted to show the aesthetics of it, so I'll make one real quick. How big is this tree? Way bigger than I had initially anticipated, I guess. Although, you know, I always need firewood, so, like, good, I guess. So it looks like focusing on building. And rather than building a whole new structure, I have different plans for that. So we are 1 of 3 days of week 10. If you were wondering, just to following along. Dang it. That's not what I wanted. Oh, and I broke my fireplace too? Oh boy. So we're going to debark some of these support beams. So debarked is taking an axe and hammer to it. So let's go, maybe this will allow me to finally break that copper hammer. It used way more axe than hammer. And then the support beam itself is then sawn off of the debarked. And if you have gravity mode enabled, this allows you to build beams that keep your ceilings up. You're like mining caves or whatever up. Okay, hello. There we go. And it's purely aesthetics, given my settings, but I figured, you know, it looks like the ceiling's being held up by something now. What is that? Oh, that's the shingles clipping through. So yeah, that's what it looks like. And I'll just have the 2 beams in for now. Obviously, beams would make more sense in the middle of the room, but I just wanted to, like, demonstrate what it would look like. Alright, so you guys wanted me to focus on building construction. And what I'm going to do is Add storages for the smithy and kitchen. That's going to be upgrading the buildings, essentially. So, I'm going to want to make another batch of bronze. Well, it could be copper, but I'll do bronze. For strips and then we'll turn those into, oops. That's not what I meant to do. Then we'll turn those into, chests. Done. The other thing that I would consider as part of this task is to create light sources. But what kind of light source is a bit controversial. Because I could do lanterns, but because I don't have a health hammer, like lanterns are very labor intensive for the amount of light that they produce. Fat lamps would not burn out, but they don't produce a lot of light. And then you could do the in-between, which, because I know where zinc is, you could do the in-between of brass torch holders. If I went to go grab the zinc, which, well, I found here, I think? Iron, copper, saltpeter. I found zinc somewhere, for sure. Oh, where was it? Now that I'm like, hey, I'm sure I found zinc, I, like, can't spot it. Was it below me? Where did I find the zinc before? Well, either way. For now, I'm going to focus on the chests. But the question for you is, should I make permanent light sources for my buildings? Was it near the limestone? It might have been. I think it was, yeah. The limestone was... Oh, yeah, okay, it's here. Zinc. That's not so far away. Like, I could get there. It's not a big deal. What I don't have on me right now is charcoal. Shoot. And I don't even have a shovel. Double shoot. I need a block. Stone, anything. Come on. There we go. Can't nap with nothing. Alright, let's grab some charcoal and make the chests. So I haven't really been organized yet. Okay, that's already preheated. Good. And some of the lack of organization is just I don't have things to put things in, you know, and chests are not that expensive. There's also signs for chests. So if you're wondering, you can make a wooden chest and then label it. So labeled chest is a sign plus a chest, which then you can use charcoal to actually physically write stuff on it. First iteration, I'm not going to be making labeled chests because it's like, using up my charcoal in that way is a bit wasteful when I don't have a lot of it. But at some point, we could endeavor to, like, make labeled chests. So I can have a chest labeled of clay, and a chest labeled of salt, and you know, because one of the buildings I want to include in the future is a storage room. A storage room being everything that doesn't make sense for being in the smithy or being in the kitchen. So in the kitchen, I should have, you know, things like salt, whatever. But like the general storage could be like clay and seeds and other non-perishables. All the perishables obviously go into the root cellar. So that's something that we can do in time, as this develops. Looks to me like you guys do want some sort of light source. So, what kind of light source am I making? So the cheapest and easiest would be fat lamps. More expensive and labor intensive would be torch holders. The only reason torch holders might make more sense than like lanterns is torch holders. For those that don't know, torch holders is made of brass, which requires zinc, and it prevents your torch from burning out. And you would want torches maybe near your smithy, because it allows you to have a torch that never burns out to light things on fire for the forge or for the crucible, and then maybe near your kitchen so that you can light your smokers and cooking pots and baking ovens on fire. So there is an argument to be made of torch holders for some buildings and lanterns for others. But also, I could understand the argument of I'm almost always going to have a torch on me at all times in my backpack, so maybe that's not necessary either. So having it only be lanterns like also makes sense. So there's the poll of the different options for you all to decide. I'm not hammering it just yet. Getting ahead of myself. Seeing that the pole's coming down on both torch holders and lanterns. I'm thinking about what I should work on next, because lanterns are... I have enough material on me right now to make like a super bright lantern, like the brightest possible lantern that you could make in the game. And I could essentially stop what I'm doing and make myself like an uber lantern, a lined lantern. And that would require me to create two plates, one of some sort of metal, and then one of silver or gold, and then combine them into an uber lantern. And I have enough knowledge of where beehives are around here that that's not a problem. So to talk about the lantern making, torch holders, I'll do torch holders first. So a torch holder made of brass, because I'm not going to have any aged ones. So normally in Vintage Story, aged ones you'd find in ruins. They're free and they work the same as brass, but you can't make them yourself. So making a brass torch holder is rather complicated process, because you need to make 4 ingots of brass, hammer them down into 2 plates, put 2 plates together for 2 brass torch holders. So if I got enough zinc to make 2 brass plates or 4 brass ingots, that would be enough for the 2 torch holders, one in the kitchen, one in the forge. And the brass is, come on, tell me the ratios here. Is zinc and copper. I have copper is not a problem. Zinc I'd have to go get. And then for lanterns, the process of lantern, you have like regular lanterns. So regular lantern is clear quartz, which I can quarry up with my bronze pickaxe. I have one clear quartz already, but like down in the caves underneath me is a bunch of quartz, so that's no problem. A candle is flax fibers and beeswax cooked in a cooking pot to make a candle. And I'm surrounded by bees, so that's not an issue. And then a plate. And the color of the plate correlates to the quality of the lantern. A lot of people like bismuth as a potential metal for lanterns, so I could do bismuth. I don't really care what it's made out of. And then if you want a land lantern, you add a... I wonder if they're even in this... okay. You add a silver or gold plate to it. For some reason, they're not in the wiki or whatever. But a line lantern would just... I have the gold already, so that's pretty straightforward. So line lanterns is the same as making a lantern. It's just one extra plate of silver or gold. Yeah. I think the first... I'd be tempted to make myself a really nice lantern before I did anything else, though. I think that's not unreasonable. What was that wood lantern? This guy? It's like a ruined one or something. I don't know. There are wooden lanterns here. They're not as bright as regular lanterns, but they still require plates, so it's not like a shortcut. And this is a primitive survival one. So the light level of the wood ones are 16. The light level of the regular ones are 18. And then the lined ones are 20, I think? Yes, 20. Which is the brightest that you can get without going into dev mode and giving yourself, like, the admin lantern or whatever it's called. Yeah, so I think in terms of lanterns, if I'm going to be spelunking for zinc, I'd like, even though it's not directly what you guys voted on, I would really want a line lantern for myself. So, okay, the molds are done. There's one thing I wanted to do first, which is, I also really want to get, 2 more ingot molds, because only having 2 ingot molds is a bit of a bottleneck when you're trying to make plates. So having 4 ingot molds total would be kind of nice. So now that my pit kiln area is done, I was going to quickly throw together 2 more ingot molds so that I could do more firing. So the current priority right now is still make storages for the smithing kitchen and a player lantern for now. Cheers. I have another weird polled question, which I'll write up in just a second. So the weird polled question, and let me get rid of that poll. is, do you care about the color of the player lantern? If yes, I'll include some options about what kind of lantern I make. If no, I'm just going to make it out of bronze, because that's what I have. If yes, then it will be a breakout poll of like, do you want it copper? Do you want it bismuth? Do you want it lead? Essentially all of the metals I currently have access to that don't need to go through a bloomery. So, not iron, because that's more labor than it is worth. And when I say have available to me, what I'm referring to is where I know where they are. Because like right now, I only have tin, bronze, copper, tin, and gold. I've got no other metals, but I could go fetch them because I have knowledge about where they physically are in the world. If that makes sense. All right. What am I doing? Let's put the clay away and then make the chests. And I'm eager to be able to actually store some stuff because, yeah, my base is messy. I know it. Those are still soft, but they'll be hard in just a moment. Also, yeah, I know for a fact this hammer should break during the production of the bits. Wow, you guys are really on the fence about. I'll put some time up there. There you go. It's hardened. So what I'm referring to in this current poll is this. When you hold a lantern, or when you have lanterns, it's like a certain color. So here's copper, bronze, black bronze. I could do black bronze. That's a possibility because I do know where gold is. Black bronze is, I know where gold and silver is. I'm not eager to have to mine up some more silver, but like that is hypothetically possible. Bismuth, I know where it is. Tin bronze, obviously, I already have. Regular bismuth bronze, rather. I could make iron. I'm not going to do, because, like, that's ridiculous. I don't, this is what? Copper and lead? Yeah, so I could do molybdo, whatever the heck. I'm not pronouncing that. Lantern. I could even do a gold or silver lantern. Steel, obviously not. Meteor iron, obviously not. Electrum, probably not, because I don't want to waste so much precious metals. But yeah, that would be the long and short of it. Alright, so these are going to become nails and strips. 8. The other thing I could... Oh, I didn't mean to stack it like that. But the other thing I can do with these nails and strips is create that 3-hide door for the kitchen, too. That's not out of the question. You know what? Let's just smash. I have so much more material than I need. I have 84 out of 54. So it's not like I'm going to run low on material for this build. I'm going to be splitting a ton. And I am... Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I'm purposely... I don't have the spare hammer on hand. Because, I intended for it to break and then not to, like, auto replace. Yeah, the smithing mod bit collection is really nice, especially if you intend to, well, it's really nice to be able to repair tools. And it's also really nice to be able to, like, make arrows or other things that don't use a ton of metal with the extra bits that you get from splitting. Or being able to add, you know, bits to a project that you had screwed up. Because in vanilla Vintage Story, it's not very forgiving if you accidentally remove too many pieces of a project, it's dead. And you have to, like, there's no recovery. Which super sucks. Alright, so that hammerhead here, I am going to break down for copper bits. Because I have 2 bronze hammers, I don't need 2 bronze hammers and a copper hammer. So I intended to break the copper hammer so I can actually physically just have the copper. So this is just copper, the same as this. It's essentially the same as native copper. It smelts the same, you know, and it's more economical in that way. Cool. So we have all the timber on strips. So a chest is timber on strips surrounded by wood. And I brought exactly enough wood to make 8 chests. I don't think I'm going to intentionally not make trunks. And the reason for this is, if I made a bunch of trunks, organization gets to be a little bit more difficult. Because they're not labeled and trunks become like a catch-all for everything. Which I think then creates more mess in the long run. So I'm intentionally just keeping them as chests. Unlabeled, of course, but like, you know. So this will be like the kitchen chest, and I'll put in, you know, salt and that's about it. Maybe for now I'll put in seeds too, even though, because I don't necessarily want like a farming chest. So salt and seeds in there. I'm gonna want to put one over in the mining. Now no, I don't want to sleep. About the mining chest. I want a better spot over there for it, so I'm going to make one. Keep the chest far away from ignition sources. Cheers. Okay, the yays have it. What metal for my own lantern? Copper, tin bronze, black bronze, bismuth. Bismuth bronze. Brass. Molly. What else am I missing? Brass, bismuth. I guess electrum? I don't want to make an electrum one, because I don't know if I can find enough material for that. So, yeah, there we go. Dems be the list. Which is brightest? This isn't about brightness. They're all the same. They're identically bright. So I think as a general rule of thumb, I will, I'll have things that can be on fire over here. Meaning that this barrel's going to need to move. I don't even know why I had a barrel here. Let's just put a barrel next to the well. The well that is not well. And then we'll have the things that don't want to be burned over there. That way it makes a little bit more sense. So I don't, like, lose tools having something stupid happen. And then for now, I am going to have I'm going to treat my kitchen, because there's a lot of space here, as like general storage. And maybe I will collect the rot there. Because I can have a rot barrel over there, I guess. It's weird to have it that close to the kitchen, but it also makes sense to have it close to your farm, because rot barrels are for fertilizer. So this barrel that I had over the forge will be a rot barrel. Eventually. What I'm trying to do is remove this trunk from down here so that I can walk into my structure. Because at the moment I really can't. And I'm not doing really any organization here, if you're wondering. I'm just throwing stuff out to be able to move around a little bit easier. I'm going to put bones in the kitchen storage. Just because you get bones from butchery. There's not a lot of logic behind it, just a spot for it. And at some point I'll like bother to do the proper organization. Just not right now. So if I embark on that, I won't be done doing the other things I want to do before industry. I think what I could do is I could put the chest over here in the smithy, because having all of my like mining related things in one big box is fine. Doesn't need to be more organized than that. And then that's my butchery box, which would make more sense to have the bones in. And for now, I'll just, maybe not that close to a fire. I'm just gonna put the bed, like, here. For lack of a better spot. As a doormat. And yeah, I need to say that, so that, I have a mod that allows that to be my spawn point, because there's no, temporal gears or anything like that. Alright, then the other things is, these tools don't belong down here. And then inside these vessels, I think are mostly perish. It's mostly correct. I don't think I have like a lot of weird storage in these. No. All right, cool. So things are a little bit more organized now. I can go back to the original goal of building myself a bismuth lantern, I guess. Alright, so if I'm headed to get the bismuth lantern, let's fetch some bismuth. Unfortunately, what that does likely mean is my, the offal that I have is probably just gonna rot, but that's fine. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of food and water. Do I have clean water? Yeah. This is good. I'll just drink this. Perfect. And we're off. To make a lined bismuth lantern is my goal. And in the mining tunnels underneath me, I have bismuth ore. So I just need to go down there and figure out exactly where that was. But luckily, I don't have to go very far. How many units is that? 20, 40, 60, 80? I need 80 bismuth. Oh, you know what? I should, let's bring a hammer. That's not how I climb. Wait, why? Did I change the dirt in here? Why is it harder? I guess I always did that jump and just never noticed how, like, inconvenient that is. Yeah, I'll just bring the hammer down so I know exactly how many nuggets of bismuth I have, so I know when to stop. At this point, I have multiple hammers, so it's not like there's much of a risk of me, like, going back to the Stone Age by losing my hammers, because I have a backup hammer at all times. Oh, the bismuth was this way. Yeah, there it is. Quite the hole? Yeah, I guess. It's not that bad. There's a lot of other, like, sinkholes around where I live that are way more deadly. So, 45. We already have, like, half the bismuth I need. I'm going to do a chunk search to see if there's more bismuth here. I think there probably is. I know I have gotten tons of, like, proximity bismuth. Yeah. Tons of bismuth pings around where I am. So I'm not too worried about the amount of bismuth needed for the torch. In fact, I probably already have enough chunks. Right now. I'm gonna need a little bit more in case I want to use bismuth for other projects. To make bismuth bronze or another bismuth lantern, because I could always make more than one lantern. Because once I have one lantern for the player, I would say it makes the most sense to have a player lantern out of bismuth, or a lined, rather, player lantern, because that casts light around you. It also doesn't burn out, so that's, like, by far the best. Okay, so that bismuth node is done. Now, it's not the only bismuth node, but I will delete this, because I've had a lot of other chunk searches around here that have found bismuth. So when I was looking for silver and gold and copper down here, I got a lot of, like, proximity bismuth warnings or alerts or notifications, whatever you want to call them, meaning that there is more bismuth down here that I have not yet found. And it shouldn't be too much trouble to try to suss out where that is with some more chunk searches. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story Primitive Survival, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodomont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodomont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors.